Good morning. Happy Friday. If it's Friday, it's our live Q&A. Welcome to all of you joining. I'm Dr. Melissa Gallagher, and I'm a naturopathic physician who focuses on addressing the root cause of illness and disease. And today we're going to talk a little bit about some COVID news related to the surge and a whole bunch of some new research, especially if you are pregnant or have anybody in your family pregnant. This is going to be critical to understand what now we know up to this date. And also, I'm going to answer a ton of your questions. So I've got questions queued up from Instagram, and also I have a whole bunch of news to share with you. So welcome all of you. Do me a favor, let me know where you're tuning in down below. So for all of you on the live, just comment in the comment box or the chat box. On YouTube, if you're watching, or Instagram TV, if you're watching on the replay, comment below as well, because I do follow your comments. And to be honest with you, a lot of your questions that you ask me in the comment boxes below create the content and topics that I will present on for future daily live shows. So I really appreciate your feedback. This is a communal effort, and our channel is very much a community-based, focused effort where we have a large international community of folks seeking natural health and wellness resources. So I do also want to highlight one of the things as a naturopath. My background is science focused. It is factually oriented. And I have been trained and utilize a lot of clinical research and data, not just in herbs, but also homeopathy, compounds, enzyme, different therapeutic resources that I employ in my practice. And I've gotten a lot of commentary recently that there's this shock that naturopaths are for mask wearing. We are focused on clinical data, research, and science focused. I'm not quite sure where the disconnect is there, but I just want to put that out there for any of you who have different expectations about my focus. This is going to be something you are going to find from truly trained 4-year degreed naturopaths. So very much different than maybe an online certificate program with health coaches or whatnot. We really are taught and trained on chemistry and biology and microbiology and genetics and all different types of science-focused backgrounds so that we can understand how the body works. And then we learn more things like botany and herbology and homeopathy and Ayurvedic treatments and Chinese medicine. All of these come together to be part of our functional medicine focus. So I just want to put that out there. I still get messages from folks shocked that how dare I as a naturopath focus on face mask wearing and science. I'm sorry, I don't prescribe to that. And to be honest with you, I think you should question any of those who do not or are touting some of the misinformation and conspiracy theories. That there's just a lot of non-founded information out there. And right now with COVID, we also have to have a lowered expectation. We are still learning about this virus. And for instance, I will share with you an abstract. The study even hasn't been released, but we've got the abstract about 31 patients. And in the COVID world, some of these small studies are going to be small. While we'd like thousands and large sample size, we're just trying to work with what we know and assess how can we better equip our therapeutics, arm our health and wellness resources and professionals on the front line in ERs and ICUs to treat us better and to get us beyond the fatality rates. So that's my little PSA for today. So let's dig into this COVID news. And if you guys on the replay are not interested in the COVID news, fast forward. I try and comment in the box below when I switch to the Q&A. So do check out the notes below. So for all of you joining, I'm really grateful for your time. And I just want to kind of implore, we are in quite a state here in the US. The worldwide caseload is at 12,268,000 cases. Yesterday, the U.S. Posted just over 56,000 cases. We didn't set a major record yesterday, but we're also seeing, unfortunately, 13 states that are now having testing issues. You think we would learn from history, just from a few months ago, that the testing shortages, we're seeing test kit shortages. We're seeing shortages in the testing agents, the swabs. We're seeing certain states that are seeing a decrease in testing capacity. And this is going to be critical. Some of the key states that are having these challenges are California. We're seeing Nebraska, Arizona, South Carolina, Oregon, New Jersey, Louisiana, Michigan, Florida, and Texas also are having those challenges as well. And I do want to highlight that our death toll is up to 135,000 deaths. And the death rate, we are seeing some decreases, and that is a very positive sign. But I do want to warn you, and this tends to be the anti-masking, the COVID deniers argument, is that, well, the death toll is not high. And the fact that it is being lowered is a very positive sign, but that does not minimize the extent of damage that this virus has within the body and multiple body systems. We do already know asymptomatic cases showcase lung scarring. Lung scarring can take months to repair and can cause lots of coughing and additional scarring from that reparation process. We see vascular imbalances, we see heart damage, we see brain damage. I've highlighted that. If you want to go back and look at brain neuro-COVID, there's now different stages. This virus is a very dangerous virus. Not necessarily is it the most deadly virus, but the damage alone is going to create crops of generations who have long-term disabilities. That is something that we need to be cognizant of. So just because you don't die, or we're seeing a reduction in the death rate, which is positive, it means our therapeutics are working, we're learning more, and we're being more proactive and innovative with how we treat people. That does not minimize the fact that this has significant long-term effects. And we also have to look at the quality of life. So I just want to put that out there. New York City, New York State, actually New York City has canceled all major big events, big gatherings of folks, fairs and festivals and all sorts of concerts and things like that through to the end of September. We have 30 states right now that the percentage of positive test rates. So when states are testing, what they're trying to look at is the positive percentage. So how many folks who are getting tests taken and it's coming back positive, what's the percentage? The World Health Organization has 5% or lower being an ideal kind of containment. Anything above 5 on average is going to enhance the growth and the community spread. It's going to highlight that there's more infection than what is being able to be controlled, mitigated, quarantined, and isolated against. What we're seeing as a US average is 9%, almost double what we would ideally want to see. So that is just a wildfire spread, and it's coupled with the testing shortages in over 13 states. That's very problematic in terms of minimizing this spread. I do want to share with you all, this has come out of Johns Hopkins University. Let me share with you. It breaks down. Yesterday, I announced that Arizona is the epicenter, the worldwide epicenter for this virus. Well, we also have some other epicenters, and this is very disturbing. I know a lot of you have commented you're in Florida, where I grew up. We've got South Carolina. You guys are in a high percentage. So this is based on the percentage of test. So the test percentage, positive percentage, this categorizes those epicenters. And 3 of the epicenters are here in the US, the top 3. Arizona, Florida, and South Carolina. And it's based on per capita. So for every million residents, there's 3.3 thousand residents who in Arizona are testing positive. What this means is that Arizona's positive test percentage right now, they're averaging 30%. That is 1 in every 3 people who are taking one of the tests, they're testing positive, and they have a shortage. They also are overwhelmed in the healthcare world. There have been several facilities that have opened up the doors to video, and I think it's important that we all, it's going to be tough to handle, but I think we need to be connected to seeing what this looks like. The deniers need to see people the attempts to resuscitate people. We need to see people being ventilated. This is reality. And this is a major, major crisis. And this John Hopkins list categorizes other countries. So, the three worst places in the world of outbreak are Arizona, Florida, and South Carolina. And right now, Florida is going full steam ahead, trying to open up the schools. Bahrain comes in number 4. And then after that, Louisiana. So for all of you in Louisiana, Louisiana is number 5. Then we have Qatar and Oman, 6 and 7. Number 8, Alabama. Number 9, Nevada. 10, Mississippi. 11, Texas. 12, Georgia. That's where we're at here in Georgia. And then 13, Panama. 14, Tennessee. Are you guys seeing a trend? I was stating a lot of U.S. states. Kazakhstan is after Tennessee, and then California and Arkansas. And then Armenia, and then Idaho, then Kuwait and Brazil. Brazil is low on the list. Brazil had a major expansion that is kind of starting to maybe see a leveling off, but we are just in full explosion mode. I want to put that out there. I posted this on Instagram, so it's on my stories. Feel free to share it. I think we need to help people see just how severe. I mean, this is double where Brazil is, if you look at that. So that being what is out there, we're just seeing increases. Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, they're up to 296,000. Yesterday, they're 289. So I expect tomorrow we will be seeing California move into 300,000. That'll get posted today. So I'll announce that tomorrow on our show. The World Health Organization has heard the cries of over 200 scientists that have studied and published content about the aerosolization and the transmission, that this is not just about contact, touching mucus or particles from a cough, a sneeze, and then, transmitting through eye, nose, and mouth, that we're actually seeing the spread via aerosolization. And that also goes back to yesterday's video about the CDC and the schools and needing to have better ventilation. That also highlights why we're seeing less of community spread in outdoor areas and more indoor, where there's less social distancing, way more aerosolized particles. And also that includes eyes. So whenever you are out and about, please protect your eyes. I'm showcasing face shields. These are ways to protect your eyes, glasses, goggles, not just mask wearing when you are in a public setting. We do have a new study, and I'm curious to read the whole entire study, but today there's actually a huge international COVID-19 conference, and this was posted yesterday in preparation for the conference today. The study comes out of Italy, and it assesses 31 women who are pregnant and identifies that pregnancy, and through the whole act of incubating and growing a baby and then delivering via placenta and the blood transfer via the cord, that we are seeing some babies having positive or being COVID positive in the womb, and then they're testing positive outside the womb. Similarly, we're also seeing antibodies develop. So they, just in the abstract, I haven't, the article, the research article is not out. So this is just based on the abstract. But what the abstract highlights is that the virus and antibodies are, both of those are present in breast milk. We're seeing that present in cord blood, in the placenta, and even in the vaginal tract of the pregnant moms. And we also had, I highlighted this back in May, there was a study here out of one of the universities in the US, where they assessed when the blood clotting situation was getting really intense, the inflammatory state, and we were seeing the nephrologists showcasing that the dialysis units were getting clotted and plugged up. They highlighted that they were seeing blood vessel damage of the placentas of pregnant mothers. And also we're seeing blood clots develop in and around the placenta. And so that is also present. I do want to highlight that. So, I've had a lot of questions about pregnancy. This is going to be really a much broader perspective. I highlighted that mother in Mexico that delivered triplets, and one of the triplets had tested positive. And that is really kind of the interesting aspect of why out of 3 babies, they have different connectivity to the mom, but they're all there. And so there's just a lot of unknowns, but it definitely is the reason why the CDC has posted a few weeks ago when they added some additional conditions for precautions. Pregnancy is one of the precautions. And so pregnant moms should take heed. They should not be out and about in public settings. They should be mask wearing and limiting social engagements, because there's still a lot of information we don't know. But what we are seeing is that there's transmission. The good news is some of the babies with breast milk and the antibodies that both mom and their bodies develop, they do recover. And so that is a positive sign, but we need more information. That's going to take more time, and we'll see more of that. There are some additional studies happening here in the US as well. Now, I also want to highlight, being from Florida, Disney World is opening. So the Magic Kingdom is opening this Saturday. It's been 116 days since Cinderella and the castles had all of their festivities. They're opening at a smaller capacity. I highlighted what the council committee went through in terms of identifying all these different procedures for safety. But that'll be interesting. We're going to monitor and watch that, because there could very well be some transmission and spread in some of those contained waiting lines and inside, like Space Mountain, some of these other aspects. Now, also, one of the things that had been brought to our attention about a month ago was the TSA. They had over 1,000 positive cases. And one of the, there was a whistleblower that highlighted in Kansas that he felt that the TSA didn't have enough PPE, and that they might have been what he called typhoid Marys, that they were part of the spread of commuters traveling via air during the spring break season. And that has prompted the TSA to have much greater protection. They've got the clear plexiglass dividers. They're all protected. So they're all wearing masks. They have gloves. There's now procedures if there's a pat down, or if they're checking carry-on luggage, they will be changing their gloves. They weren't doing that. There was possible transmission. I mean, you touch somebody's toothbrush and other, items that are potentially at risk and have particles on them, that might have just been transferring from, individual in the lines as they were checking bags. The other thing that they've done is they are requiring, when they don't have plexiglass, so let's say, the folks that are, helping you load your luggage on, they put face masks on them if there isn't plexiglass there. So if you do fly, you're going to see some changes in terms of how protected the TSA professionals are. There's been news out of Missouri, and this has kind of pushed Missouri into a little bit of a tiny hotspot. There is a summer camp of kids. The camp, it just so insane. It's one of these things that's like, oh my gosh, I'm sure this is happening elsewhere. But right now we know 82 campers, including kids, staff, employees of the camp, have tested positive for COVID. They've closed the camp down. There's isolation, cleaning. I'm not quite sure the details of how are, the families getting the kids and how are they quarantining them. But there's definitely already, we're seeing the enclosed quarters, and they were employing the right procedures, social distancing and mask wearing. But it's just one of these things with kids. We might not see total adherence to, kids wearing masks. And I go in, if you're curious about schools, masks, and some of the guidelines, yesterday's video really detailed that. And on just one other front, before we go into your questions, I've got some additional news about one of the vaccines. They have, there's a BioNTech and Pfizer. It's a combined vaccine. They are moving into one of their trials where they're going to be testing on 30,000 healthy individuals, and they have announced that they should be, if that all goes well with this particular trial, that they'll be expanding the testing and will also be seeking approval probably by the end of the year by the FDA to launch their the vaccines into the public sphere. So I just want to put that out there. It's not a stamp of yay, vaccines or not. Just I'm highlighting news. So now let me just mark it's 9:23. Okay, so we are going to go into your questions, and I am going to queue up. I have questions on YouTube I'm going to answer, and then also questions on Instagram, and I'm just going to kind of go back and forth. So let me go right on into my community tab, and I will dig into your questions. Okay, so I'm grateful for everybody. I see so many comments here on the live. And first of all, let's take a minute for all of you on YouTube. Let's thank Pat Wagner. Pat is so awesome. We love Pat. Pat has been helping me moderate all of our comments, and we get some, spicy comments, sometimes some obscene folks. I haven't seen the grumpy old perv guy lately, Pat. But for all of you who've been watching regularly, Pat has been really fantastic in terms of helping keep our live chat a safe, open, positive community. There are folks that don't agree, and that's totally fine. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, but she helps keep it clean and nice. And so I'm grateful. So Pat is fantastic. Okay, so let's go into some questions. So yesterday, Roxanne Fowler asked natural solutions for seasonal allergies and congested ears. This is such a big topic, especially in the spring and in the fall. Roxanne, I have multiple videos about how to clog and, unplug, unclog plugged ears. So I'm going to recommend you watch that. Those are my most popular videos. I have several million views on those videos. They actually go through a whole bunch of tactical DIY techniques to open up your ear. So the eustachian tubes usually get filled with fluid. Sometimes it's just fluid, and sometimes it's infected, pussy fluid. Kind of depends on the situation. But a lot of that's coming from inflammation here in the sinuses, the upper sinuses, and it's just part of the infiltration of allergens that take root and cause inflammation in the sinuses. The first kind of thing that I recommend is always have, and I don't have it in front of me. I actually don't read your questions, so I can be as impromptu with answering them. Saline spray or neti potting in the morning and evening. So as soon as you wake up and right before you go to bed, helps clear out a lot of the allergens. When we sleep and we have allergens, they just kind of take root and they cause a lot of inflammation. And that can also help decrease the lymphatic drainage. So as a lymphatic therapist, I give you a lot of techniques in those videos. So I'll reference you to those, or push you to those. On Instagram, Junie717 says, what can I do for constipation? Okay, so first and foremost, you want to make sure you're hydrated and you're increasing your fiber content. Ideally, you want to be at 30 to 35, upwards of, most optimized is 40 grams of fiber a day. That's just not always possible for folks. The average American is going to be hovering between 8 and 10 grams of fiber, but the more fiber content with extra hydration helps to move the bowels. So that is one thing, hydration and extra fiber. The second thing is to add magnesium to your diet. That can help alleviate constipation. The third thing is to add in dandelion tea or liquid tinctures of dandelion and milk thistle. Those help reduce, or they help push bile out of the liver. Bile is sudsing. It's what moves contents. It's what gives bowel content the color, the darker brown color. And then also you want to monitor your color of your bowel movements. If they're lighter, it's indicative that you don't have enough bile. So those would be the first things that I would recommend. Okay, so next up, Nina, what is the best non-toxic dental toothpaste? And what derma roller do you use? Okay, so 2 questions on that. The best non-toxic dental toothpaste, I love an Ayurveda, and it's an Ayurvedic, I can't remember the name of it. I'm trying to see if I have anything in here. Sometimes I hold over here on my shelves a lot of video related products that I highlight. I can't remember the name of it, but it is on one of my TJ Maxx hauls because I often find it at TJ Maxx. But it's an Ayurvedic toothpaste. It has neem oil, coconut oil. It has baking soda in it. It also has licorice, cinnamon, has some very good properties to it. So I love that. Also, I like the mouthwash, the Ayurvedic mouthwash. What derma roller do I use? I don't remember the name of it, but I have several. I have several degrees in terms of the lengths, the MMs of the derma roller. Some are minor and some are a little bit deeper. As I also have a stamper too that's a little bit more higher grade that I'll stamp and then fill in. I use a serum that just has really great content in it to help enhance the collagen. So, okay. Next question. Happiness is health.fntp. She says, toenail fungus, impossible to eradicate. It's been a year. Tried your recommendations. Okay, so toenail fungus can be quite a challenge. If you try a lot of the recommendations, like soaking in apple cider vinegar and soaking also in Epsom salts, there's the magnesium and sulfate in that, and also adding the tea tree oil, and you don't see that clearing, then we need to address systemic related fungus and inflammation. And that can occur. Sometimes people are bombarded by overwhelmed imbalances due to environmental factors. So I go deeper with a lot of patients that just have a much deeper kind of degree of toenail fungus. The other thing, we also want to look at your liver function. So the liver is your core root of eliminating toxicity. And if you have high cholesterol levels, high triglyceride levels, hormonal imbalances, low vitamin D, that's going to be indicative of a liver imbalance. So that's one thing, we want to improve your liver function to help eradicate that. I also do like to do some heavy metal detoxing depending on each person. And also I'll use biofilms. So that's, I'm hoping that'll be helpful. That's, everybody's situation is a little bit different. And I really try and tailor those specific to each person. Okay. Scott. Hey, Scott. Scott's so sweet. He sent a really nice message the other day on one of our videos. So Scott from Central Washington or Wisconsin here. What are your thoughts that can help with brain fog from both my stage 3 chronic Lyme condition and the added brain fog I've had from dealing with what appears the tail end of COVID-19? The test is due back on Monday. I'm already taking rhodiola rosacea 1,000 milligrams one time daily, and my local naturopathic doctor also has me taking life extension cytokine suppress with EGCG. That's a good one. He's taking that one time daily without food to help reduce inflammation. I'm gluten-free, soy-free, sugar-free, and eat a strict plant-based diet since the first of the year per my naturopathic doctor. Yes, and you're following men. I love it. A lot of my male patients will just totally do everything that we recommend. So good job on that, Scott. You don't eat fruit as it flares your Lyme symptoms, and he does have me on other supplements to help me fight the Lyme, but nothing else to help with the brain fog. My motor coordination and speed of thought / brain fog seem to have been impacted by the coronavirus. I just need some additional help with this. Okay, so the other day I recommended, I would do L-acetylcarnitine, and also the Bacopa would be one that I would recommend, as well as make sure you're getting fish oils. So healthy fats are going to help your brain. They lower inflammation as well. So eating healthy fats, lots of nuts and seeds, coconut oil, MCT oil, flaxseed oil, even, you can use avocado oil as well in some of your dressings and things like that. I would definitely add that. And then sometimes with the Lyme, as well as COVID, you're going to have a double pairing of stress. So I think the other thing that's going to be helpful would be to evaluate your neurotransmitter. So talk to your naturopathic doctor about neurotransmitter balance, and then also adrenal health. So the adrenals and the neurotransmitters are going to be a huge factor in terms of helping support the brain and lowering some of that inflammation, but also triggering the firing of the brain. So I wouldn't have any doubt that the adrenals have been taxed because of the COVID and the Lyme. Tulsi, the holy basil is very good. Immuno-wise, I really love cordyceps, lion's mane. Those are adaptogens, but they're also good immune. aspects, reishi. So, your mushroom blends, your mushroom coffees. So I would definitely add some of the mushrooms and then some of the more powerful adaptogenic herbs. Astragalus is another one, really potent. Okay, so let's see. Over to Instagram, we've got kmbert2gmail.com. She says, her question is, when exposed to COVID, rapid test came back negative. Is that official or could it still show up late? So one of the things, I have to apologize, I have some allergies. I was in my garden a lot yesterday and discovered that my broccoli is getting completely eaten alive by some insect that I've got to figure that out. But okay, so anyway, back to Kay and Bert. So the rapid tests there depends on the rapid test, depends on who took it, where you had it done. A lot of times they come back false negatives. And actually, Scott had commented on one of the videos this week that he had a second test because his first test came back negative. They thought it was a false negative and they redid it. It might be a good idea to see if you can get the nasal swab or the serum test. The rapid tests are, there's a lot of user error. And when they rolled these out, there was also issues that they cannot transfer and move them. And had contamination that was a factor. So, when it's 50 to 60% accurate, that's not the best accuracy. So if you think you've got it, I would sign up for a different version of the test. That would be my recommendation. Okay, so back to YouTube, and we've got a lot of questions. So I'm grateful for all of you, and then we'll get to all your questions here live. Rejoice says on YouTube, what do you suggest for menopause women? Vitamins, herbs, etc. No hot flashes, mood issues, inflammation in the body, etc. I talk a lot about shatavari and chase tree Vitex. I'm so excited. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I have 3 chase trees, one big one, and then 2 that they've come from the original. They flowered, the bees have pollinated them, and I'm actually getting my little berries, and I'm going to be harvesting my own chase tree berries. I'm so excited. So I'm going full on into herbs and making my own tinctures. But chase tree and shatavari are 2 very potent supplements. For menopausal women, I love Ephesoy. So Amazon, I'll post Ephesoy on here. Ephesoy is fantastic for women. It has DIM, it has maca, that's an adaptogenic herb, and it also has a non-GMO. It's not even US-based soy. It is a Japanese and Asian version. The genetic element is not even American. It has a soy. It's an extracted, fermented. They ferment the soy, and the soy is grown in really rich, dense mineral soil. And the extract, the fermented aspect of it, the extract actually helps to manage a lot of the symptoms. So I like that a lot. Julie Catherine, hey, Julie, what are some herbs for fertility? I read that Vitex is good. I know nothing increases egg quality, but just looking for herbs for overall female health. Shatavari, I like, Shatavari is just the mother herb. I think any woman that wants to keep their hormones balanced, Shatavari should be just as much of a multivitamin for women as your regular multivitamin. It just is very potent for all different phases of female balancing. It just keeps everything balanced. And it also is very good for our brain health and just keeps us feeling better. Angela says, I have pain in my left ankle and leg. It got worse since I stopped levothyroxine. I need to do labs before next refill. But pain got better after 1 dose of using your suggested full script thyroid support complex. Yay. Thought it was kind of strange since I take most of the vitamins in the complex except iodine. Any idea why I have this strange pain? I thought it was arthritis pain from hypothyroid. Do you think the iodine helped or something else in the formula? I don't have enough data to know specifics. I think your thyroid levels would be critical. The product that she's referencing, it's in my full script store. There's links for all on YouTube and Instagram. You'll have that down below once this wraps. The thyroid support complex is fantastic. And I actually have it here. Actually, no, I don't have this here. It has thyroid, it has some iodine, it has a whole bunch of things that are supportive. One of the things with ankle and leg pain, the question is, for a lot of women, I do a lot of lymphatic work. And one of the things that does happen is there can be swelling in your legs, particularly your lower extremity, ankle, leg, feet, from thyroid imbalance. And so sometimes the pain is lymphatic. Sometimes it's just your body holding a lot of fluid. The question I would say is when you do take that supplement, do a weight, weigh yourself before and then 12 hours after and see if you're losing some water weight. That might also indicate why. But iodine's great. Iodine also, you get better constipation. It relieves constipation. It moves, excess fluid out of the body. And you have a lot of receptivity in the body for that. All right. Ray John asks, I have a pinched nerve either in my shoulder or neck. From the base of my neck to my shoulder becomes numb many times throughout the day. I've been doing exercise to help, but that's not enough. This happened after I repainted my daughter's bedroom. Is there anything that you know of that would really help me with this? Thank you very much and have a great evening. Oh, yes. So Ray, I'm going to recommend you go to my website, naturalhealthresources.com. On the front page, you're going to see a link to take my 3-letter botanical quiz, but more importantly, you're going to see a product link, and it's for the C, and then the middle, I can't say this word on YouTube, I get dinged, but it's C, and then the second letter of the alphabet, and D. So that 3-letter botanical is fantastic. There is a 20% coupon with my name and the 3 letters. That helps really, really reduce inflammation. Pinched nerves are really tricky, so I'd want to make sure that you are under some chiropractic care and have an evaluation to make sure that you're not making it worse by some of the exercises you might be doing. Sometimes we can eradicate pinched nerves by increasing the muscles, and they're really just small little incremental muscle strengthening exercises you can do. But definitely inflammation reduction. So I would also add in Inflame X. That's in my Full Script store. I'd add that to the mix just to reduce your inflammation. Okay, let's see here. I think I might have answered everybody's questions. Let me see. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Taryn asks, a doctor I work with said he was going to get a blood test to see if he was exposed to the virus. If I want to get the blood test, should I get the swab test to see if I'm positive or negative? He said I can sign up on LabCorp online and make an appointment. So my question, Taryn, do you feel like you're exposed through him? Is that why? And yes, I would do a swab test. I'm not quite sure the details of, every state and every area is a little different, but if LabCorp has it, definitely go ahead and set up your appointment. I think you're safest if you're taking an environment where it's outside. Like Tuesday and Wednesday, our town had drive-through, but it was really people outside, and they had like a little swabbing station, two swabbing stations under a little tent. Okay. Benita Peak says best remedy for CSID. That is a particular genetic malfunction or dysfunction of being able to process sugar. It's very complex. There's nothing that eradicates that. So you're just really trying to manage it through diet. What I don't recommend is doing the FODMAP diet. That tends to just cause all sorts of havoc. I do like to use digestive enzymes and metabolic enzymes to manage some of the inflammation, but there's definitely a lot of gut healing involved with that. All right, Darlene Malone. Darlene says, can low magnesium cause heart palpitations? Yes. Magnesium, adrenal imbalances, stress, anxiety, and thyroid imbalances can all cause heart palpitations. Emily Easton says, going back on the topic of supplements for the brain, is there anything I can take for my information processing disorder? Whether I'm reading something or someone explaining something to me, info goes in one ear and out the other without stopping to process. What would the supplement you recommend on your Wednesday video be beneficial? Okay, so I have it over here. What I recommended the other day was the Focus and Recall. I do think that this would be helpful. You have DMAE and you have some other amino acids. Everybody's case is different, but I really do like neurotransmitter, enzyme, and amino acid enhancing. So that would definitely be one thing. And then I think some of the the phospholipids would be helpful as well. Okay, Crystal Sterling, buying fresh veggies like parsley during COVID, are they safe? Yeah, I mean, anytime you buy anything, fruits and veggies, I always employ a veggie wash. And so we're starting some of them, I like my basil starting to come, it's starting to be, they're big leaves. I'm starting to pick them and dry them. With those, I wash them as soon as I pick them, and then I let them dry. And so they have natural veggie washes. The soap from the veggie wash will kill any viral particles. So, I definitely do think it's a good idea to do wash your vegetables. I recommend that anyway. Especially like I tend to buy, you can buy from farmers markets and stuff. So they might have dirt on them. And so I just wash them, especially now that it's coming from our garden. I have natural pesticide control with neem and some other natural compounds, but I also am canvassing for any particulates from bugs and stuff. Let's see. Kanisha Jones 1, recommendations for mold toxicity. So mold can be very overwhelming. The first thing is to eliminate the source. So make sure that there's no mold that you're constantly being bombarded by. Some of that can occur in new buildings, sometimes old buildings, sometimes your place of work. Mold also bonds very heavily to heavy metals. So there's the heavy metal cleanse, the biofilm that you want to employ with that's very comprehensive. Okay, Mary Lou, she says, happy Friday to you, Dr. Melissa. Hubby and I are planning on ordering the comprehensive hormone test kits on your website. Just to double check with you, once we get the results, will you be able to give us feedback? Yes, I do. They email, so you take the test. There's a few states that they're now not running because I don't have licensure in like California. California is one of these wacky states anyway, but yes, they send you the lab results. Like I send you the kit, you take the kit, you send it to the lab. It's all part of the process. There's mailing instructions, all that. And it's all paid for. And then once they complete the labs, usually 5 to 10 business days, then they email and mail you the results. And then you could send that to me and I can review. I will say my time is a little bit more limited. I'm not working like I used to because we have Gabriel at home. Tyler, right. I've been prescribed Robenil for my hyperhidrosis. I've sweat a lot in my life. The medicine appears to be working well. However, I worry about my body not cooling itself down. Do you have any thoughts on the medication? Are there any alternatives? So one of the endings says, I'm in decent shape and relatively healthy otherwise. Thank you, ma'am. So one of the things that I'm concerned with some of the medications on that, I do like a fully functioning lymphatic system, and I feel like sometimes that minimizes the lymphatic capacity to sweat. Like sweating cools you down. Some of that is a necessary process, but it's also something to look at your lymphatic function. It might be a little bit of a hyperactive state. So, I do like enhancing lymphatic flow. So doing dry skin body brushing. I have about 50 videos in a playlist, Tyler, that you could check out. That would be probably most helpful in how to motivate your lymphatics and clear that out, just so that your body's not flushing the toxins out via the skin and is flushing them through the normal routes. Lorraine from Miami. Hey, Lorraine. She says, I see people posting pictures of themselves hiking or in swimming pools without social distancing. I thought even if you're outside that you need to be observant. Am I wrong? So I will say there was one day on I think a Sunday morning, we got up early or tried to get up early and go to one of the local hikes. We have an old mill and it's really pretty. We took one of the dogs with us and there were people there. So we had our masks on hand, and when we saw people, we wore them. And of course, on social media, I got called out by the anti-maskers. Oh my God, you're wearing a mask and you're out in public and you're hiking. And what they don't see is that there was like a pregnant woman getting a photo shoot happening here, and there were people coming our way on a bridge. And so we wore our masks when we felt we were in an area of proximity to folks. But when we weren't, we took them off. And so that was the one thing. I think if you are going to, the hiking, you could potentially be very much the only person out there. Being out in the air and outside is better for aerosolization. It minimizes that risk. Also, the humidity level is a denser type of air content. And that's been tested in labs, the density of air and things like that. Now, swimming pools is a whole nother bag. We bought a swimming pool on Amazon and we set it up in our front driveway. If we did in the back, one of our dogs would jump in and break it. But we are not taking Gabriel to the pool because there's a lot of touch points that even with the chlorine in just the proximity of folks, it's just too risky, to be honest with you. And so, in a swimming pool, that's really hard. You're not going to mask up if you're in a pool and swimming. Kids aren't going to do that. The chlorine itself will kill the particles, but people touch the door handles and the knobs and the side. And so, the pool thing, I'm not so sure, but there's just a lot of people not wearing masks, unfortunately. Okay, so those are all of our pre-packaged questions. So let me go over here and let me go to Instagram. Okay. AAFZAL91, can you please give recommendations for very irregular periods? I actually have a whole video that talks about seed cycling. I would recommend seed cycling as well as Shatavari. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to really understand with irregular periods. You need to have your hormones tested. You need to assess your thyroid function. There's a lot in that. And we need to have everything optimized. We also have to evaluate your adrenal state. The cortisol level can skew and lower your progesterone levels. That skews the estrogen-progesterone ratio, which has to be tight and perfect. So there's a lot to that. So I would say get some labs, start to take Shatavari, make sure you check out the seed cycling. I really like that. That's very beneficial. Shatavari also is my go-to, and Vitex. Okay, let me move over to YouTube. Taryn says, I have no symptoms, but the people at the hospital positive, they're dropping like hotcakes with COVID. Oh gosh. Oh, that makes me nervous for you. So Taryn, make sure that you've got yourself some protection, like a face shield and your mask. Hang in there. I would definitely get tested. Even with no symptoms, you could be asymptomatic, which could be very much a blessing that you're not having major symptoms, but we still know there's potential risk of organ and system-related injury. Dwayne, hey Dwayne, can cortisol and adrenal testing be done with the same test? Yes. So it's all the same. So cortisol is produced by the adrenals. Different labs call them differently. So like the adrenal stress test is a 4-panel cortisol. So cortisol, you do it all in one day. You do first when you wake up, lunchtime, dinner, right before bed. And it also evaluates DHEA, and it's like a dash, a little S. But DHEA is also a hormone produced by the adrenals. That is from a different part. We have 2 parts, the little triangle, internal and external part of the adrenal gland that tells us a little bit about neurotransmitter balancing. So it can be indicative if there are some imbalances. Now with men, DHEA that's high can also be accompanied by prostate imbalances. And so if we have a high DHEA level, sometimes it's also an indicator that you have zinc deficiency in zinc. And so I can help drive down the DHEA, which improves some of the prostate-related health. So yes, they're all the same. Julie, I am overweight and type 2 diabetic. Anything I can take to help with weight and water? The lymph stim, Julie, in my Full Script store would be something I'd recommend. I'd also look at anti-inflammatory. So usually your anti-inflammatory, like Inflame X would be one. And I think Pat had posted that. The Inflame X, you're going to have bromelain. That is a fluid reducer. It also will have ginger and turmeric. Those are anti-inflammatories. They can get excess water weight. But being type 2 diabetic might also be a factor with your body holding water or being inflamed. That is a metabolic imbalance. It's also indicative of some inflammation within your blood vessels. So, your best bet is to manage the diabetes, which I definitely would make sure you're consuming a good multi-mineral. And I don't have anything here on my desk I can show you, but I have a really good ionic liquid multi-mineral that can help balance that. But, the weight and the diabetes, they go hand in hand. insulin resistance and glucose intolerance and things like that. But definitely make sure that you're balancing your inflammation. That's going to be the best bet. Okay, so let's see, Instagram, Emerald Style 17. I've noticed hair loss over the last month. What do you recommend I do? Yeah, so that's a lot of stress. I think we're all kind of dealing with all different ways that stress is impacting our body. The big thing is make sure you're adding a good amount of healthy plant-based protein. Also making sure you're getting your multi-minerals, sleeping well, lowering your stress. So, stress adaptee with rhodiola and Tulsi is really good idea. Thyroid could be a factor. A lot of times it's adrenal in its orientation. So there are some things like the daily stress balance. I actually have this link down below. I love this. It's a spray. And it has alethero, holy basil, ashwagandha, rhodiola. It also has ginger and rose flower. And you literally spray it on your tongue and just do a little swish of water or drink and just, kind of move it along. But the hair loss could be from a multitude of reasons, but I know right now we're all under a lot of stress. So that is definitely one factor at play. Let's see, I'm looking for, and by the way, if you guys love this content, you love a Q&A Friday, give me a thumbs up, hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate it. Christine says, I think to Scott, or I don't remember who asked me the question. Let's see, about the pinched nerve. Let's see. Actually, it wasn't Scott. It was Ray. Okay, so Ray, Christine Borgatti says, my chiropractor fixed my pinched nerve. It did take a while. Yeah, and sometimes we have the structure of the alignment of the spine. That is one of the reasons why, and I don't recommend this. You already have pinched nerves and discs that are bulging or inflamed, but just overall, and I don't have it here, but the using a foam roller, that's like our go-to. Like we do that. Brian's hooked on that thing, then our like massage chair. We're constantly foam rolling, and it just recalibrates and releases some of the pressure, but also helps elongate and keep the spine and structure tight and in alignment. And that can also occur, when you're working from home and it's a new environment, it's not always ergonomic, and you're kind of like your body's not working well, or you're doing things that you're not used to. Shelby Williams says, I'm 54 and have been raw vegan for 8 years. Annual physicals and blood work great, but notice low blood pressure. Shall I be concerned? Peace and blessings. So it kind of depends how low. Sometimes the low blood pressure can be indicative of some adrenal imbalances. And most of the time your physicals and labs are not going to show adrenal health. Licorice can be just a really easy thing to take that'll enhance your blood pressure. But the challenge here is that a lot of times high blood pressure is like the trigger, but low blood pressure tends to get it gets swept under the rug and not assessed. But either low or high, is a sign of imbalance. And so the adrenal, Shelby, tends to be the thing that I look at most in terms of identifying what do we need to fix. Sometimes it's just adrenal, output's not optimized, or you've had high stress and then you're at the adrenal dive. DDJ2, what do you recommend to remove skin tags? I actually love castor oil, depending on how big the skin tags. I just got a message from my friend. I kind of hate people right now. Oh man. Okay. So what do you recommend? Yeah. So skin tags, I would put castor oil. So I feel like I did a video on this where like you can get a skin tag. Sometimes people get them around the eyelid and sometimes down here, or even on other parts of the body. If it's clear, just castor oil a little bit, let it soak in. You can sleep with it overnight. Sometimes put a little Band-Aid on it, and that generally resolves that. Okay, let's see. Randy, yeah, serapeptase works great for edema. I love, those are the proteolytic enzymes. Lorraine, can I use Shatavari if I take bioidentical estrogen and progesterone? Yes, you can. You can overlap those. Any idea how to heal cataract naturally? So I feel like somebody asked me that last Friday as well. So cataracts, those, there's some genetic aspects, but like what I find is lymphatically, we're not removing toxicity from the eye. So if you notice you're puffy and have a lot of fluid, moving your lymphatics of your face, even doing gua sha. I'm thinking about doing this weekend. I'm going to shoot video. I am going into full on. I'm going to shoot video. I'm going to edit. I'm going into working mode because I need to get you guys more content just than these live shows. So one of the things that I'm thinking about is doing a gua sha tutorial. And there's a lot of gua sha. This is a particular type of technique. I'm trying to see if I have my gua sha materials. I don't think I do. I don't. But gua sha is a particular type of technique that motivates fluid, and it's great for moving the lymphatics. With the eyes and the cataracts, like I use a special tool in my clinic that it's part laser, but it's also a way to move the lymphatics much more deeply. I've been trained on this, so it's not just manual technique, and it's uniform, and I can help clear and eradicate cataracts. But that tends to be hard to do on your own. But if you do that at home, that can really help. Let's see. Do I have any other questions? Okay, so Instagram, feel free to ask me questions. Okay, here we are. Let's see. We've got Luller 7695. My net went out. Where can I find the stuff for the weight and water weight? Oh, so if you go to my website and there's like at the top tab, there's a shop and you scroll down, go click on supplements. And I think it takes you to another window. You click again on that. That'll take you into my full script store. And the item that you want to find or search for is called Lymph Stim, LYMPH, and then STIM. And in fact, for cataract Steph 23, I would have you on Lymph Stim just to help motivate your lymphatics. The lymphatics is a very under-assessed, under-acknowledged system of the body. It's one of the largest systems in the body, and it is critical for detoxification. So from mold detox to cellular detox to inflammation, we need to help move our lymphatics. And there is no actual pump to the lymphatics other than moving our muscles. And so when we're immobilized or less mobile, and then it gets compromised by, different body structural imbalances. Weight is another factor, hormones, all these other things contribute to the lymphatics being stagnant. So the stagnancy we want to motivate. Lymph Stim is seriously one of the best things out there. I can get people who are taking Lymph Stim, like literally, for me, it's been the way to extend me seeing or anybody with a lot of inflammation, even post-surgical work, out so I don't see them for but every 3 or 4 weeks, because they're doing this at home. And I teach people to maintain and do stuff at home so they're not reliant on having to come in. It's economical for them, but also most important to optimize their body balance. So I would definitely look at Lymph Stim for any of you that's feeling like you're holding excess fluid, even if it's not lymphedema or edema in its orientation. 5 or 10 pounds of fluid kind of gets into all areas of the body. If you've got swollen lymph nodes, you're dealing with sinus congestion, ear congestion, Lymph Stim can be beneficial for that too. Okay, I've got less than 2 minutes on Instagram. DD, can you recommend a good thermometer? Yes. So there's one on one of the links, and I don't know. I'll post it. And DM me, DD. I'll get you a link down below. Lola, you're welcome. Okay, so let's see. Do I have more questions here? Christine says, I'm considering buying holy basil plant. Oh my gosh, I have it and it's fantastic. I meant to take photos. We were outside and I forgot my phone. But we're going to have to go outside a bit today because we've got some people coming in. Many of you knew back before all of this started, we had a disaster of a flood in our kitchen, and our kitchen is halfway torn up. And then we stopped the whole tear down of our kitchen and redo because of COVID. So we've got the contractor coming today. And so I've got everything lined up, like UV, all the sanitizing, best diet and exercise for lipedema. So Wallace Forever, I'd recommend, my forte is not exercise. I'm not an exercise enthusiast. I'm a naturopath. Diet definitely is keto, can be helpful for some of the fat that we can burn, but adipose tissue doesn't burn with keto. I would have you check out the Facebook group called Lipedema Fitness. And if you aren't a member of my YouTube channel, I would definitely have you join. I posted a presentation I made to the lipedema community about hormones. And so I'd recommend that. Okay, Instagram, you guys are going to run off because we hit our hour long. I'm going to continue over on YouTube. So please give me a thumbs up and share this. And thank you. Tune in tomorrow. Bye, Instagram. Oops. Okay, so let me save this. I always kind of click this wrong. Okay, so download. Okay, so let me go back to some questions here. Will you please post the name of the toothpaste? Yes, totally, Vicky. I don't know. I can't remember. It's an Ayurvedic term. I know what the bottle, the thing looks like. That was one of the first toothpaste that I sold in my store in St. Pete. I love it. Okay, let's see. I have to make room. Oh, good. Donna had little lion's mane shroom coffee. That's so fantastic. Lion's mane is awesome. What are the differences between adrenal and cortisol tests? Okay, I think I answered that. Christine says, I soaked my toenails with full strength apple cider vinegar. Took a while, but did the trick. Yeah, apple cider vinegar is great. That plus drops of tea tree oil. I grew up, my dad had horrible toenails, and I was like, oh, that's never going to happen to me. I will say one of the things on the toenail front, a lot of thyroid imbalances can register in the toenails, as well as diabetes, poor circulation. So there's a lot of things we can do to do that, to balance that out. Okay, let's see. Julie, okay, Daniel, where should I go online to learn about how long a person should compression wrap on legs, etc.? Ancient One. So, depending on the situation, if you have lymphedema, you're going to be wanting to wear, you should be, it's recommended to wear compression wraps daily, usually about 20 to 23 hours a day. I know that sounds like a lot. Yeah, that's funny. Pat says, creepy old pervert must be sleeping in. He always gives me a laugh from his little, his name. Okay, so, hey, Freddie, welcome. Wilbur, what causes unexplained weight loss? Well, there's a lot of things. A lot of times the thyroid can be unexplained weight loss. Depending on how fast you're losing weight, there's other aspects. Like I've seen some of my colon cancer and cancer patients lose weight. So there's a lot of different reasons for that. It's most important to definitely see your general practitioner or internist to run labs to make sure we look at your eosinophils and, look at your white blood cell count and really kind of analyze what else might be going on. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Ego, consider that emu oil and chili oil balm rubs do exist for this purpose, but can you use cut chili directly? I'm assuming for, here, let me go back. Okay. I have a great question. When you have osteoporosis, can you use something like fresh cut chilies to rub directly on the skin? Is that for pain or to boost the enhancement of the bone development? So, fresh cut chilies can be very intense. So I would probably avoid that. What I would do, I would use something that's manufactured or put together as a balm. And then also you can blend. So some people will make their own balms and infuse. Like I have a huge rosemary plant. I'm thinking about doing an infusion just to kind of enhance my scalp strength and, enhance hair growth and stuff. So I would infuse, and I'm looking this up now, like I'll infuse my rosemary. I'll kind of cut it up, chop it up and put it in oil and then diffuse it over a period of time. The rosemary property, the oil from the rosemary blends in and then you could strain out. So that might be something to think about. But to be honest with you, I love CBD. I almost said it. So I love the 3-letter botanical for that. And they are balms. There's level 4 cream that we sell in my clinic. And we have that available online. Yeah, castor oil packing is fantastic. Little girl blue 46, friend is coughing a lot after eating and first thing in the morning. What could that indicate? More than likely, probably GERD, some acid reflux. Especially if it's phlegmy or if it's dry cough, there could be a lot of reasons. But if it's coupled with pain, could be a hiatal hernia. Let's see. When you grow moringa, how do you use it? Pick leaves and make tea. Yes. So moringa, and actually, if you're down in Miami, Lorraine, they're everywhere. You can just cut the leaves. You can chop them up, and brew them up. You can chop up the leaves and dry them, and people will make little tea sachets, or a lot of times you have the open tea, like loose tea. So you can do that. Moringa is fantastic for that. You can also grind it up, make it a powder. Some people encapsulate it. I would obviously wash the moringa leaves before you do anything with them. How do you get to the lymph stem? Okay, so Little Girl Blue, go to my website. Actually, no, you don't have to. Down below in YouTube, there's a link. So my Full Script store, I have a little notation like get 10% off. It's automated. So 10% off will come off when you check out. But I would recommend that. And once you get access, you set up your own patient profile. So name, email, it's part of it. There's no way around it. It's part of HIPAA. And you then search. So you have access to everything. Once you guys get in, you have access. And then also you get access when we have 2 sales a year. Like we just had the one that was, I posted at 25% off, which is a great savings. And so a lot of people stocked up on stuff. Let's see. Shelby, I rebound and get on my inversion table daily for lymph and overall wellness. Your thoughts? I love it. I love inversion, especially for the spine and rebounding. It's fantastic. We have one. Gabriel basically uses it every day. It's excellent for indoor when it's raining out. Like, get on your rebounder. He'll just bounce and bounce. Let's see. Dwayne, for us in the States that are anti-naturopathic doctors, what would be your second choice? Doctor who practices integrative medicine. I would look at, yes. So you could find a functional medicine that's usually either functional medicine. There's a whole association that we're a part of, but functional medicine, integrative medicine, and sometimes your DOs. So some DOs are way more integrative and more attuned. It kind of depends. Your best bet, to be honest with you, is search some of the social, like search Facebook, search Instagram, and even check out some of the websites of some of those associations. That can be helpful. Kathy, is a vibration plate good to use for lymphedema? Yes. I do like vibration plates. Those are helpful. Hello, I'm thinking, okay, so MP, I'm thinking about buying a vibration platform machine. I've heard they are good for lymphatic detoxing. Do you know anything about that? Yes, I do. It is great. It's also good for folks that have myofascia challenges. And I do like that for a lot of individuals. So yes, it's part of a catalog of resources to move your lymphatics. You just want to do a lot of different things, and they all collectively optimize and move the flow. So it's not just getting manual drainage once every week or once every 3 weeks. It's doing it daily, compressing, eating a healthy diet that's low inflammation, anti-inflammatory, moving your lymphatics with ginger and turmeric. Let's see. I'm very bummed. TJ Maxx has closed some of their stores, so I won't be doing any TJ Maxx hauls lately. Daria, I fell and hurt my ankle really bad, and they have been swollen along my feet. Chiropractor told me nothing with broken, but there might be a very tiny crack or something. So I would soak it in Epsom salts and then lymph stem. You can do castor oil. I would definitely make sure you're wrapping. Compression is going to be critical. Also, if there is any type of wrap or any type of small break or, a line where you, not just a crack, but, ligaments and tendons can get injured. So that's very supportive. I definitely keep your weight off that ankle. Elevate, ice, and anti-inflammatories, and the 3-letter botanical. Totally. That's huge. I take it internal and external. I'd be smearing salve all over that. Okay, so Laura Louise Kelly, I'm 62, still having my cycle, but taking Vitex Berry, which is already really helping. What else to take? Shatavari. I would take Shatavari. It's an Ayurvedic herb. They call it the mother herb. It's fantastic. Rook Deb Poi. Do you recommend THC as being beneficial for pain? So, that is illegal here. And so I can't go into that category, but we do have the hemp botanical, 3-letter botanical that I do recommend. There's full spectrum, broad spectrum, and then isolate or extracted versions that are going to be low on that particular compound. But I do like that a lot. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to take one more question and then I've got to run. I hear a little voice. Jenny. Hey, Jenny from the block. Is sodium bicarbonate safe to take to keep potassium levels down? It depends. The big thing is that if potassium levels are high, there might be medication keeping it high. So I'd want to find out what is causing it to be high, and you can address that as well. I would do that. Okay. All right. So I've got to run. Thank you, Pat, for moderating. I really appreciate it. She's so great. She's referring people to the description box. So by the way, the description box you're going to find, if you want these, I've got these listed, the face shields, also the kids masks that I highlighted, this little box of masks. These are great. And then also I have the daily stress. I love this stuff, this balance. This is Herb Farm's one of my favorite. And by the way, in addition to lymph stem, especially for folks who have had like the ankle sprains or whatnot, Tea Relief, I would go into for the Full Script store, get the liquid. This is liquid. They also have tabs and they have the cream or the gel. I love the gel. That is another compliment. So I will also add this. This has arnica, but it has a whole bunch of other homeopathics that are good for reducing fluid. So I will add that into a lot of my lymphatic patients' practice before they put on their garments. I'll have them do dry skin brushing. They'll do their Tea Relief. And it used to be a Heal product. It's now under a different brand, but this is highly, highly potent. So we sell that in Full Script. Okay. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate your time. Stay tuned tomorrow. We're going to go live tomorrow morning. And I'm so grateful for all your questions. You guys are so wonderful. I hope you stay well, stay safe, and please hit the like button. And when this wraps, do me a favor, come back and comment. That's been helping get our word out there, and I'm grateful. So thank you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Be safe. Be well.